Very good morning, students. You know very well that we have completed the brief summary of the famous tragedy Macbeth in our last videos. Now we shall start some important passages from the play and their explanations and reference to context as well. You know it very well also that these passages are asked in your examination paper also, and you are told to write down their explanations. I have selected some of the important passages from the whole play, but we shall do them one by one, that is from Act 1 to the last Act 5. Today we shall do one or two important passages from Act 1, Scene 3. As we know, the brief story of Macbeth, that in the beginning we come to know that three witches are going to meet Macbeth. Macbeth and Banquo are returning from the battlefield after having won the battle. They are fighting in favor of King Duncan, who is the King of Scotland. So, when they were returning from the battle, Macbeth and Banquo were talking each other. The weather was not good. So, here is only a single sentence or the single dialogue or some words which were spoken by Macbeth. Let's see. Text. So full and fair a day I have not seen. This is a single line which was spoken by Macbeth to Banquo. And this is from the scene 3rd of the Act 1 from this play. Three witches are making plan to meet Macbeth. They are on the way. And during the way, Macbeth speaks that he has never seen such a fair and full day, such a full and fair day. King Duncan is waiting in his residence or in his camp that was established in forests with his son, and he was waiting for these brave warriors. We also came to know that having learned from the messengers about the bravery and about the courage and about the way Macbeth and Banquo fought in the battle, the king has honored Macbeth with the title of Thane of Cawdor. So the another messenger is also going to reach and inform Macbeth that this title has been conferred to him by the king, and the king is very much pleased. This line has a very much more meaning than it seems. It has also dramatic importance as well as. So, when they were returning from the battle, it was a stormy and rainy weather, and the time was evening. But very soon it changed into a bright and sunny. So, this was the surface meaning or the real meaning of that situation, and perhaps Macbeth was referring this, that there was a frequent change in the weather. So he tells Banquo that he has never seen such a weather which is changing so fast. He says that he doesn't remember having seen in his life such a raised weather following with such a bright sunshine on the same day. On the second day it might happen, but on the same day such thing is happening. But we know that this line has an instance of dramatic irony as well. It has a wider significance for the audience because the audience already know of the witches in the very beginning scene, what they said and what was their satanic creed. We know very well what they said. They said, fair is fall and fall is fair. That was the creed of the satanic witches. That it was what was fair is fall for them, and what was fall for others is fair for them. So, this line that Macbeth utters or says to Banquo connects with the lines of the witches which they spoke in the beginning of the scene. Therefore, we must think that it has a dramatic significance. That is, Macbeth has a internal or the spiritual connection, or has established the connections with the witches. That is, what was the witches were going what the witches were going to do, or what were the witches going to predict about Macbeth is already in the soul of Macbeth. So here the another meaning may be that the day was fair because Macbeth won the battle. So it was good for him. He was honored and loved by the King Duncan. So that was a fair day. But it was also a foul day which was going to happen. The audience know that something wrong or the unfortunate is going to take place upon Macbeth. So this is the explanation of this line that we have. That is that this line connects Macbeth's mind to the prediction or to the satanic creed of the three witches that we met in the beginning. Now see some of the meaning or the critical note of this line. We have the word fall. Fall means stormy and rainy in the evening, and this weather is brought about by the incantation of the witches. In fact, the witches don't like the good atmosphere. So it is supposed that this kind of atmosphere was incanted by the witches. This was due to the incantation of the witches in which they appear. The word fair means bright and sunny in the morning. Both words are contrary to each other. Some critics believe that fair and fall also refers to the varying chances of the battle. However, it refers to the change of the weather, not of the day. But critics believe that it refers to the varying chances of the battle. It is fair if you win the battle, and it is fall if you lose the battle. Macbeth has won the battle, so it is fair for him. But very soon he is going to lose his spirit or his soul, that is fall to him. That is, he is going to be gripped in the clutches of the witches. So this was the line which was taken from the scene third of Act 1. Now we have the second passage from the same scene of the same act, that is Act 1, Scene 3rd, and this is, I recite, but it's strange and oftentimes to win us to our harm. The instruments of darkness tell us truth, win us with honest trifles, to betray in deepest consequence. These are some of the lines, and they are from this tragedy, as you know very well. And these lines have been spoken by Banquo. Banquo is also with Macbeth returning from the battle, and three witches are waiting at a heath to meet Macbeth and Banquo on the way. And we also see in this scene that it is Banquo who sees these three witches first, who identifies that these are the evil spirits. And he questions them, ki who are they, from where they have come. And he also says them that they don't seem the inhabitants of this earth. But very soon the witches begin to speak and they welcome Macbeth. First they say, Hail Macbeth, Hail Macbeth, Hail Macbeth. The first witch speaks, then the second one, then the third one. And they speak, they welcome, they greet Macbeth with three predictions. So the first witches speak, Hail Macbeth, you are the Thane of Glamis. The second one speaks or greets Macbeth that you are the Thane of Cawdor. And the third one speaks that Macbeth, you are the king hereafter. That is, you shall become the king of Scotland. So these were the three predictions we saw that were done by three witches. Now we also see that Macbeth begins to believe or to trust in their predictions. And therefore he asks them some more questions to know something more about his future. But very soon we find that they disappear. Although they also speak about Banquo. And they speak about the Banquo that he will be happier than Macbeth. He will not be the king, but his successors or his sons will be the king. Such kind of the predictions were also made for Banquo. But here we see the contrast. And what is the contrast? That Banquo doesn't believe in these evil spirits. He disregards them. Whereas Macbeth believes. Macbeth believes that this can happen. Therefore, he wanted to know something more. It means that Macbeth has already some kind of his high ambition in his mind to become the king of Scotland. And this was predicted by these three witches. Although he asked them how these predictions will come true. But when he asked so, they disappear. Three witches disappear. So Macbeth begins to muse over these predictions and think about the third prediction, that is, he will be the king of Scotland, third prophecy. But as we know that Banquo doesn't. So Banquo tells Macbeth that you should not believe in them. These are the bubbles of the earth and they disappear very soon. So through these lines, Banquo takes a common sense of view of the witches' greetings. He doesn't fall in believing their predictions. He tries to dissuade Macbeth from paying any great heed to them. That is, that Macbeth should not believe in them. He also tells Macbeth that it is true that one of the predictions of the witches has been proved true. That is, he is the Thane of Glamis. So this is true, what they have spoken. But what about the others? So Banquo tells that it does not mean, or there is no reason at all, that Macbeth should believe in all of them. So in these lines, Banquo says that these witches are actually the agents of the evil and they speak the truth in a trivial thing, in a small things, and deceive us in matters of vital importance. That is, they deceive our trust because we begin to believe in them. Very often they tell us what is true in order to gain our confidence in them. And when we are in their way, when we begin to believe in them and trust them, what happens? That these evils begin to play false with us. That is, they play false with us, and then we are ruined ourselves. So, this is what Banquo simply tells Macbeth to bring about that they bring about our damnation. That is, these evil spirits led us towards our destruction, towards our damnation, towards our deteriorations, towards our end. And they just simply tell us the simple truths. So we should not believe in them. We should not we should not trust them. This is what Banquo, through these lines, speaks to Macbeth when he sees that Macbeth is believing in them. So he warns Macbeth that the consequences or the results will be very wrong and destructive if we believe in them. It is okay that they speak something true or something happens out to be true, and it does not mean that everything what they speak will be also true. If we see the critical note for these lines, we will find that Macbeth's dealing with the witches and his whole conduct bear out this comment of Banquo. That is, the Banquo's comment reveals or expresses that Macbeth is going to make some dealings with three witches. That is, he is going to believe in them. Macbeth, we see here, fails to understand the simple truth told by Banquo, and then he follows the path of his own ruin. So he doesn't understand what is said by Banquo. He realizes the truth, he realizes the actual truth only toward the end of his life. That is, in the beginning or in this scene, third of the Act 1, what we have seen that the three witches meet them, they greet them with the predictions, and the contrast that we saw is that Macbeth believes in them, whereas Banquo doesn't. Although they make the predictions or the prophecies for both of them. I think these lines must be clear to you, and if you have any problem or any confusion or anything that you don't understand, you can ask me anytime, anywhere. Thank you very much. Next time we will go with another passages, important passages from Macbeth.